All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99 back with another video. All right, y'all, back with some more flyweight talk. Y'all know I've been looking forward to this fight right here. I know some of y'all are too as well. You know, I'm hyped for this fight, but it's going down. March 30th, UFC Fight Night, Atlantic City. Erin Blanchfield is taking on Manon Fiorot in a title eliminator, y'all. That's right. The winner of this fight finally gets the title shot. They're going to get that shot against the Grasso Shevchenko 3 winner whenever that fight happens. I don't know when that fight is going to be scheduled, but this should lock them in for sure. But, yeah, it's going down, y'all. First off, I got to say, shout out to Erin and Manon, man, because they just been staying consistent. You know, they just been training, fighting anybody that the UFC's been putting in front of them. They're both currently 6-0 in the UFC, undefeated in the UFC, and now they have to step into a 7th fight before they can even get a title shot, you know, before they get their title shot. The title shot would be their 8th fight in the UFC, you know. So, yeah, shout out to both fighters. You know, they've been fighting different styles, you know, getting different looks, and they haven't been complaining, you know. I know at this point they both have expressed that they wanted a title shot, but along the way they knew that, hey, they have to put in that work, you know, and they have to stay sharp, and they'll fight whoever they put in front of them. You know, Manon made the call out whenever Erin Blanchfield defeated Jessica Andrade and Tyler Santos. She knew that Erin kind of put herself in a good position, a really, really good position. So, you know, Manon made that call out and said, you know, I wasn't impressed with Erin. I'll fight her. And Erin said, hey, I'll gladly beat you up. You know, I'll gladly take the fight and beat you up. So I like that talk. You know, they both acknowledged each other and said, okay, if I got to fight you to get to the title shot, I'm going to do it. You know, they didn't try to duck this fight. So I got to give them a lot of respect here. But, yeah, looking at Erin, too, you know, just as far as how she stepped up from the unranked realms, you know, from fighting J.J. Aldridge to Molly McCann, she just jumped right up and beat a former champ and a former title contender at flyweight. You know, that says a lot. You know, and Manon, you got to give her credit. She just beat a former champion, Rose. You know, people thought that she was going to beat Manon, but you got to give her credit for it because she did beat Rose, you know. So, yeah, both of them having this undefeated streak in the UFC, I think it's impressive. And it just goes to show to me that these two are the best of the best, and this fight is a 50-50 fight. And that's what I want to talk about in this video. Well, before I talk about that, the good news is the fight is happening, but the second piece of good news is that the fight is now a main event. Just in case y'all didn't know, the fight is now a main event. Shout out to Gabby in the live stream the other day. She filled me in on that one because I know the first time I checked, they had another fight as the main event. I can't even remember who it was. That just goes to show you how much I cared about that, right? But, yeah, the next time I checked, they had Erin and Manon bumped up as a main event, which, okay, that's what they should have done in the first place, right? I mean, if you make Ibas Namajunas a main event, this one definitely has to be a main event, right? Because this is for a title shot. You know, this is a title eliminator. So, yeah, I'm glad that it is a main event because both of these fighters wanted a 5-round fight, you know, to get them prepared for the title fight. So, yeah, you know, 5-round fight is much needed. So, yeah, that's another plus to it. But, okay, so like I was saying, you know, with this fight going down now and just looking at their resumes and their approach to their fights and just watching how they fought, you know, looking at their strengths and their weaknesses, I got to honestly say, to me, I think this is a 50-50 fight. You know, I know some people think I'm going to say Manon would win this fight easy, or some people say I thought Erin was going to win this fight easy, or some people say Erin is going to win and they get mad when I feel like, okay, Manon has the advantage here. But to me, when I just look at this fight and I watch these fights again and again, I got to say it's 50-50, you know, and I'm just being honest. You know, I've just got to be honest here because even though I like both of these fighters, you know, I got to be honest with it. And honestly, you know, Erin Blanchfield, I've really been watching her first. Like, I've been following Erin Blanchfield throughout her whole career, you know, since the jump, you know, since she's been a young buck, you know, just doing jiu-jitsu till she moved into MMA. I've been seeing all of her fights. And I was one of the ones, you know, filling people in and schooling people on, hey, watch out for Erin Blanchfield. And some people thought I was joking or, you know, I didn't know what I was talking about. But I told you that she was going to be somewhere at this point, right? So that being said, I know what she's capable of. But along the way, I saw Manon and I said, okay, yeah, granted, I like her style of fighting, you know, and what she was doing early on. But there's just been some things that she's been doing throughout some of her fights where I was like, okay, I like what she's doing. You know, I like the choices that she's making as far as, you know, making sure that she can bank the win. Of course, just like Erin, there's things I want to see them switch up and do at times, but I knew that what she was doing was enough to get to the top here. You know, I knew what she was doing was going to get her in a position to fight for a title one day. So, yeah, looking at both of these two fighters and what they doing as far as resumes, I think it's a 50-50 fight because they both seen different looks and they both know what they're up against and they know how important it is to be well-rounded, and they've both been training in their weaknesses. So this is a 50-50 fight, even more so to me than Tyler versus Erin. You know, that one I kind of backed out of my pick because I was like, I like both of them. I like both of these fighters. And this was really, really tough to pick. You know, at one point I was giving Tyler the edge, but I said, I don't know. I really don't know. But that one looked 50-50 at the time. But when you looked at what Tyler was capable of in the past and what she kind of let go, you could definitely start to see Erin look better in that fight, right? Even before the fight started. This one here, honestly, yeah, like style-wise, you know, Erin hasn't seen a fighter like Manon, and Manon hasn't seen a fighter like Erin. So this one truly is 50-50 because, again, they're both undefeated, and they've always found ways to win in their fights. You know, they've always found solid ways to win in their fights with what their styles can do for them. You know, so I don't see this as like a traditional striker versus grappler type of fight where, you know, Manon's just going to pick her apart all day and then just stop her or clip her, or where Erin's just going to drown her on the ground and submit her. It's not going to be that type of fight. I think you're going to see moments in this fight where Manon might surprise Erin with a couple of takedowns, or some impressive moments on the cage where she's clenched up and she has Erin Blanchfield hemmed up on the cage, even just to kind of like throw out of her rhythm and just show her that, hey, I can do this too. Like you might see her spin Erin onto the cage and maul her on the cage for a little bit just to show that she has the strength, you know. Or you might see Erin in here throw that long jab, knocking Manon off balance and throwing her out of her rhythm, because, hey, that's how you get speed tamed, you know, speedy fighters tamed. You got to start throwing that long jab. And, you know, Erin has slowly been improving in her, well, I won't say slowly. She's been making some impressive improvements in her striking to me. You know, a lot of people say, oh, her striking don't look good, but it ain't got to look good. Like, it ain't got to be, like, pretty, but it works. And to me, it is pretty. You know, it's not, like, pretty like in, like, what you see, like, when Joanna throws shots or Valentina, but they look good because she's hitting her opponents on the money. You know, they're landing on the money. So Erin could be that fighter in this one where she's landing shots square on Manon's jab, or she's landing them high kicks on her head, you know, or body kicks. So, yeah, I think you're going to see a little bit of everything from these fighters. You know, they're going to have to dig deep in this one, and you're going to have to see somebody step out of the box. But for the most part, you know, Manon is going to use something that Erin hasn't seen before, and that is, you know, the angles and the movement. You know, she's going to have to use that movement and stay away from the cage. And Erin is going to have to cut the cage off and throw the long jab to the chest, into the face, you know, to get her into into those close quarters where she makes her feel cagey, like she did to Miranda Maverick and like she did to Tyler Santos at times. You know, the fight with Jessica Andrade, I mean, she kept that in the center, and she was just beating Jessica Andrade up to the point she got the back, right? But she knew when she was dealing with, like, big, strong fighters like Tyler Santos that she had to muscle and maul them and take away their power by staying on the inside in their chest. But I think when she's dealing with somebody who moves more, like Manon, you know, that's the thing that's gonna be her big task in this fight, of finding how to adapt to it and how to get Manon to circle into maybe one of her power punches, you know. So however she switches her stance, she's gonna have to get Manon to circle into something big to where, you know, she can land something and then get the takedown. And, you know, Manon, she's gonna have to throw straighter punches in this one. You know, sometimes she'll throw, you know, a lot of hooks, or she'll throw the check right hook more. She's gonna have to throw more straight punches down the pipe, you know, to land square on Erin and do a lot of movement, you know. So, yeah, I think the fight's 50-50. Yeah, I really do. The more and more I just kind of look at what they've done, I can't say one is better than the other at this point. They both have their weaknesses that the other have to capitalize off of course. Like, even to me, like, I don't see 5 rounds favoring one over the other in this fight. I think 5 rounds can be I think it's up in the air, honestly, because again, Manon, she's the mover, she's the striker. Boxers and kickboxers, they're putting in rounds all day where, they're on their feet sparring, and, using their legs. She's a cyclist and she runs. So her cardio should be on point for 5 rounds. She's the mover in there, so it should be on point. Just like, when Joanna was in her game, she was always on her feet, just throwing, and moving. Those type of fighters, 5 rounds usually favors them, but it usually does, but she should be good in this fight. But Erin, being younger and having that high pace to her and just that cardio, always grappling and wrestling and just always being on the ground and applying that pressure and having it applied on her, I think Erin is going to be also game for 5. So I think they're both game for 5 rounds. I don't think it really favors one or the other with 5 rounds. But as far as defense too, like, that's really going to be the problem here. With a lot of WMMA fighters, like finding them holes in their game, like I've been seeing, that's where they're really going to find their moment to really capitalize on a weakness, like whether Manon's pulling back or Erin's coming straight forward with her nose right there on the line where it gets clipped like it did in the Tyler fight. Those are the little things that they're going to have to capitalize off of. But I don't see this thing being one-sided on either part where, like, Manon's going to strike her to death or Erin's going to submit her in the first round. Like, I think she's too big and too strong and moves too much to just be locked in. It's going to have to be a strategy on how she breaks Manon down to get there. Same with Manon, getting a comfortable decision. You're going to have to break her down. And I just don't see Erin being broken down like that. She has something about her I've been seeing since she was young. Like, that's why her dad nicknamed her cold-blooded. She's that type of fighter that just has, like, the focus for however long the fight goes. She's not really one to be frustrated and, huffing and puffing in there. Like, she's not going to get the job done. So that's the scary part for Manon. That's the scary part I think Manon's have to deal with. And I think, for Erin, she's going to be dealing with somebody that is always used to being the bigger fighter and knows how to throw their weight around. So, yeah, 50-50 fight. It's going to be a 50-50 fight for y'all. That's how I see it going. I think it's going to be a good one. Seeing a finish, that's hard to say. Again, if you want truth, though, we're going to have to look at who goes for finishes more, but even then, like, if I was to say Erin, I mean, Erin's finished people that give it to her. Erin's going to finish somebody like Andrade. She's going to finish somebody like Molly McCann. Those the finishes are there. Same with Manon. Manon finished some of the early fights too, but as they stepped their game up, they had to find more cerebral ways to win. Fights became more of chess matches for both of them. She didn't finish Tyler, so I don't see her finishing Manon like that, and I don't see Manon finishing her like that. I think it's going to be something where they have to break each other down to get that finish. But yeah, guys, I'm hyped for this one. We'll talk more about it because I know somebody wanted to know about the resumes and how they matched up and how it prepared them for this fight and the title fight to come. So we'll talk more later, guys. But let me know in the comment section what y'all think. 50-50 fight to me. I'm just glad it's a main event. Let me know what y'all think. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace. But I will be making my pick in the coming weeks.